How's it going, everyone? We're back today working on the 900 again, thankfully this time with the help of John and Lucas. So let's go ahead, try and make some progress and fix all the vacuum line issues that this car has. You'll have to excuse me, I am a little bit sick, so that's why my voice sounds off. But this car, ever since I got it, has had a ton of weird little vacuum line issues. And during the manual swap, I kind of didn't address any of them. I wanted to just leave it as is. However, when I went to plug in the gauge cluster afterwards and we took it for a drive, the turbo gauge had stopped working. Before this all goes back together, fixing the turbo gauge is really one of the big issues. And I'd also like to fix all the other vacuum leaks and issues that this car has. If you guys might remember, during the manual swap, I replaced some of the vacuum lines. I only had about 10 feet of line. I do have another 10 feet of line sitting down here that we'll probably use in today's video. This is just some generic line I got off at Amazon. I believe the inner diameter is 3.5 millimeters. Just by looking at it here, you can probably see there's a few lines that are plugged. And having been someone myself that has not worked on the 900 before, I don't know where these lines are supposed to go to. Now there is a diagram right here. So I made a post on Facebook because this doesn't include all of the vacuum lines that are in the engine bay, which is what makes it confusing. So hopefully today we're gonna get these all routed properly, sorted, fixed, because there's 3 or 4 lines here that are plugged, and I think it's contributing at least to some of my issues. So without further ado, let's go ahead, jump into it. John's got his smoke machine hooked up here. We're currently trying to diagnose vacuum leaks. He thinks that why the turbo gauge doesn't work is because the vacuum line we replaced, this one right here, you'll notice it's really thick on the outside versus the factory line. And he thinks it's pinched in the firewall, so we're looking at that. But he also thinks he fixed my high idle issue.
The nipple down here didn't have anything on it. Just sitting like that. So as you can see, there's a lot of smoke coming through when it's not plugged.
See, this is why I need people who actually know what they're doing to help me out with this stuff, because I wouldn't have ever seen that. But good progress so far, we think, at least. Oh yeah, turbo gauge works. Yeah, right away.
It had a massive vacuum leak.
Wow, look at that. Yep, it actually moves when you tap the throttle like it should.
Is it just not plugged in? Is that all your RPM?
No, yeah. Nothing's plugged in besides the turbo gauge.
It sounds good. Like, sounds healthy.
Yeah. Sounds like it's idling about where it was before, but it's also cold, so
it'll dip down a little bit.
It's holding a little higher now at 14, 15.
Yeah, idle's creeping back up roughly where it was before. It's just a hair lower than it was, but the turbo gauge works, which is the big thing I was worried about before I put this all back together. This is the SPG cluster, not my cluster, but I have it all together, so it's easier to just toss this in and test out the couple of things that I need to. There was a T that was plugged that comes through the firewall that was accidentally plugged. So the turbo gauge vacuum line was just going into a solenoid and nothing else. So John rerouted it properly, and now it actually works as it should, as you can see. So that's a huge relief. Super happy about that. Getting a lot of crud out of that, huh?
That was nice and brown. Did you see that?
Yeah. So we're cleaning the idle air control valve, the IAC. Hoping that we actually cleaned this like a month ago to try and fix this issue, but getting a lot more crud out of it this time maybe, so might be good. Sprayed some WD-40 in there to help
loosen anything up. We need to look at the hand manual and see. I think there's a Bentley or whatever you have.
Let's see if this helps. Oh, it's right at 1,000. slowly going up, I think. Well, it's at like 1200. Just listening, waiting for it to go up. Back up. Yep. Right back up. 1500. So what did you adjust exactly?
So this was, I adjusted this much out of the throttle. So what it was when it was, this is your set screw for your throttle. So it was sitting about there. When you're revved up, your throttle was cracked.
Okay.
So I think it was just too far down. So your idle air was preset trying to control it, and it was sending too much air because this was cracked.
Huh. Okay. So usually after we started it up, within 45 seconds or so, it would creep up. It hasn't been running that long yet, but it does seem to be, it's right under 1,000, right at about 1,000 maybe.
850 plus or minus 50. We're pretty much at 900. Yep. It might be a hair bigger, but yeah.
Turbo gauge is still doing its turbo gauge thing.
Yeah, it's in the middle.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, dude.
I'm not sure why that, whatever that thing was called. The dash pot is so far away.
Right.
Why, this thing is, I mean, stick a finger between it.
Yeah.
She's a little loose. She's, you know, been around the block.
She's too
An actual
It's too bulky.
right above there, yeah. Get my special
Sponsored by Pittsburgh.
Trying to die? Well, there you have it, guys. That video was a little bit all over the place. So much all over the place, in fact, that I forgot to record an outro. So here I am recording that now. We've got the idle fixed on this car. It idles right around 900, 950 RPM, which is perfect. Beforehand, it was up at around 1500, which is obviously way too high. The car does have a slight miss at idle. Probably could use some new spark plugs. It also sounds or smells like it's running pretty rich, as John had pointed out off camera. So might order a new fuel pressure regulator as well. That'll all come in a future video. But for now, guys, turbo gauge is fixed, and I'm excited. We're getting closer and closer to having this car fully back together. Speaking of which, I'll have a video up soon where we fully reassemble the interior to finalize the manual swap. But with that said, thank you guys all so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, give it a big thumbs up. Make sure to check out John and Lucas on Instagram if you like Saab content. They've got some cool stuff. And see y'all next time.